Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivakadacharya Sashi Madhis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandakoti Vaishnava Vindi Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Goho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shri Vasili Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhani Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glory assembled devotees. All glory assembled devotees. All glory assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glory Srila Prabhupada. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 5, text number 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Put it on like here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Gopan Gokula Rakshayam Nirupya Maturam Gataha Nanda Kamsasya Varshigyam Karam Datum Kurudvaha. Somebody could chant. Mataji's. Word for word. Gopan, the cowherd men. Gokula Rakshayam, in giving protection to the state of Gokula. Nirupya, after appointing. Maturam, to Mathura. Gataha, went. Nandaha, Nanda Maharaj. Kamsasya, of Kamsa. Varsikyam, yearly taxes. Karam, the share of profit. Datum, to pay. Kuru Udwaha, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the protectors of the Kuru dynasty. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami continued, thereafter, my dear King Parikshit, O best protector of the Kuru dynasty, Nanda Maharaj appointed the local cowherdmen to protect Gokula, and then went to Mathura to pay the yearly taxes to King Kamsa. Purport. Because the killing of babies was going on and had already become known, Nanda Maharaj was very much afraid for his newborn child. For his newborn child. Thus he appointed the local cowherdmen to protect his home and child. He wanted to go immediately to Mathura to pay the taxes due and also to offer some presentation for the sake of his newborn son. For the protection of the child, he had worshipped various demigods and forefathers and given charity to everyone's satisfaction. Similarly, Nanda Maharaj wanted not only to pay Kamsa the yearly taxes, but also to offer some presentation so that Kamsa too would be satisfied. His only concern was how to protect his transcendental child, Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Vaskachate Shatarane. So here in this purport, in this verse, it describes how Nanda Maharaj went to Mathura, was planning to go to Mathura to pay the yearly taxes to King Kamsa, and in this way he wanted to pay the taxes and make some presentation to Kamsa, and also he made preparations to protect his child Krishna. He worshipped the demigods and the forefathers and gave in charity for his newborn child. This taxation is there, and every government has some kind of taxation, and we find this 5,000 years ago also, but it was done in a very responsible way, not like nowadays. Simply the so-called government men are untrained, and because they are untrained, they gradually become rogues and thieves. And then they increase the taxation of the citizens, and for their own sense enjoyment. And this way, the government becomes, they have a top-heavy administration, and which has no purposes, any useful purposes for anybody. So they tax so much. Prabhupada mentions how sometimes they tax up to 80 or 90% of the production of the people. So in this way, people become very discouraged, so much so that sometimes they think that why should we work so hard? Because the government will simply take it away. So this just creates lethargy in society, this so-called idea, just like the communists, they wanted everybody to just give to the government. You just give to the government and we'll take care of you. But in this way, nobody's enthusiastic to do anything. Prabhupada mentions this in this connection that proprietorship turns sand into gold and gold into sand. So if you artificially, create a so-called society where everyone, you simply give to the state, then there'll simply be chaos. No, everybody should give to Krishna and simply take what is set aside as his quota. Then everything will go on very nicely. So in Vedic culture, the king would take 1/4 of the production of the people. And in this way, no more than that. So we can understand if the government is taking more than 1/4 of the production of the people, they are simply rogues and thieves. It doesn't matter what party they belong to, they are simply rogues and thieves. So they simply took 1/4, and for those who were brahmanas, the brahmanas wouldn't be taxed. It probably mentions in I believe it's in the first canto that the Kshatriyas would tax the Vaishyas and the Sudras, but the Brahmanas were not taxed. This taxation was allowed under condition. It's not simply we take your money and then we enjoy our senses. No, the duty of the government is to see that the people are properly protected. So this protection is there in various ways. In one way, it's there that the citizens are protected against the thieves and the rogues. Otherwise, the government has no right to take any taxes from the people. But we see in this age of Kali that so many thieves and rogues are wandering, and the government hardly does anything. They simply come. You report a crime, and they come and they take some notes, and that's about it, and you never get your property back. So people are very disturbed in this age. And the government acts like that, then they will also, they have to suffer for the gross sinful activities of the citizens if they simply just take the money, but they don't protect the citizens. Not only do they have to protect the citizens from thieves and rogues that attack people in the streets, but also Prabhupada mentions they have to protect the people from the thieves and rogues within the government administration. So if there's any so-called government men that end up stealing money, then they should be chastised by the leading head of society. And also it's a duty of the king to see that also that the people are properly engaged in performing their activities in the system of varnashrama. They're properly engaged. Otherwise, there's no hope in human society. You cannot control a society without people being properly engaged in their occupational duty. These things are there naturally naturally, there's always a class of men that are very intelligent, that they're teachers. There's always a class of men who are, they like to engage in fighting and administrative work. There's a class of men that like to engage in production, agriculture, and like that. And there's another class of men that are the labor class. So these classes are found naturally in society, but the government has to see that they're engaged in properly following the religious principles according to those different varnas and ashrams. Not nowadays how the brahmanas, so-called brahmanas, they are the teachers, but they engage in so many abominable activities, very sinful activities. They may have a so-called good brain for technological knowledge, but we see their personal behavior, and it's very sinful. So in this way, the government has to teach these things, otherwise the suffering comes. And also, if the people aren't properly engaged, or another thing with the taxes, they also have to accept 1/4 of the sinful activities of the people, either the pious or the sinful activities of the people. So this comes along with the government. So in this age, people are very much harassed because of this taxation. It says in the age of Kali that on one side there's scarcity of food, and on the other side there'll be heavy taxation from the government. So in this way, people will be harassed and so much they will give up their homes and go to the forest. So without this Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada mentions in 1974 on the famous Varnashrama walks, that unless they have this Krishna consciousness, then they will not be saved. So this Krishna conscious movement is there to protect people, to give them guidance, so they will not be exploited by these Rakshasa government men. This is their only hope, to get good instruction from the devotees of the Lord. And gradually it's stated that in this age of Kali, that the people are being taxed in so many ways that they'll try to hide their money. In this way, the government will not be able to collect taxes. In this way, they won't be able to maintain their bureaucracy. And this way, the government will collapse and there'll be chaos throughout the land. So this is a situation, this age of Kali. So it's also mentioned here that Nanda Maharaj, he worshipped the forefathers and the demigods. So this is mentioned in the Vedic literature. Of course, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. And those who go to worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. But this isn't the case with Nanda Maharaj. His only purpose in worshiping the demigods is to serve Krishna, to protect Krishna, to serve Krishna. Just like the gopis, they worship Goddess Durga, and sometimes less intelligent people, they say, well, the gopis, they try to support their worship of the demigods by saying that, well, the gopis, they also worship Goddess Durga, so we could also worship Goddess Durga. But the purpose of the gopis was different. Their purpose was to attain Krishna as their husband, to serve Krishna, like that. So Prabhupada mentions there in the Krishna book that the purport is that if if Krishna is the center of activity, a devotee could adopt any means to achieve his goal, like that. So, so in this way, sometimes the devotees, they may worship various demigods, but the purpose is to be attracted to Krishna. And we find even Lord Chaitanya probably mentions in the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya and his followers would visit all temples, even the temples of various demigods. And but as devotees, they understood that like Krishna and Shiva are not the same. That Krishna is like milk and Shiva is just like yogurt. So the devotees see the distinction between Krishna and the demigods or his servants, like that. So in this way, Prabhupada mentions how just as like the followers of Lord Chaitanya and Chaitanya visited all temples, like the temples of demigods, the devotees should also visit all temples. So one may think that, well, okay, so we should visit all these temples, and if I want to worship a demigod, I could worship a demigod. But also we have to take instruction from the spiritual master also. So once some devotees were thinking, or they were performing worship of Ganesh, and Prabhupada heard about this, and he said that, yes, you could do this, but do it privately, and if you could worship him if you send me $100,000 monthly, and then you could do Ganesh worship. So we could do it, but it's under a certain condition. So the thing is, we have to see everything as a whole and not simply pick and choose. You know, I could worship the demigods, therefore I could worship Ganesh, and you know, like this and all. You know, but we have under condition. So here we see that Nanda Maharaj is he says his only concern was to protect Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions this in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in one of the purports, how Krishna finds it more pleasing that a devotee accepts him in a subordinate position and tries to protect them than thinking of him as he's the Supreme Lord and I should worship him. He takes more pleasure in that when we think of protecting him. And even Srila Prabhupada mentions that, that even earlier in the 10th canto, in the 3rd chapter, it mentions about Vasudeva and Devaki, how they were concerned about Krishna being attacked by Kamsa when they were still in the prison house. And Prabhupada mentions there how they were out of affection, they were thinking like that. And Prabhupada was mentioning how we're thinking that the demons will try to kill this movement. So we are very fearful in this way. Will they try to kill it, or it will go on without fear? So a devotee, he thinks like that also. He knows that Krishna is a Supreme Personality, Godhead, but sometimes they think like that, will the demons try to destroy this movement? And also in Krishna Lila, we find that the devotees, they try to protect Krishna, like when Krishna was killed, but when Putana witch was trying to kill Krishna, Krishna killed her, and then the gopis were very concerned, and they chanted various mantras to protect Krishna in different parts of his body to protect him. And it's also mentioned in the Nectar Devotion how Mother Yasoda would chant various mantras and put various talismans on Krishna's arms to give him protection. And even in our Krishna conscious movement, Krishna is here on the altar. He's non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that way, he doesn't need our protection. We don't actually need these gates or anything like that. But the devotees, their concern is to protect the deities. So we should have gates. We should give the deities protection. Just like it was in Bombay, Prabhupada wrote a letter to Giriraj about the deity. He said we should use make all precautions to protect the deity. Because Prabhupada was saying how that somebody came there and stole the crown off the deity, even though there was a devotee there sleeping. I guess he was guarding. Sometimes we used to do that here in the temple. We used to have somebody guard the temple at night by sleeping in the temple room like that. So anyway, this person came and stole the crown from the deity. And also Prabhupada told Mukunda in Bhaktivedanta Manor, he mentioned in a letter, it was in 73 or 4, how he mentioned how here in Los Angeles, they have a security guard in the temple 24 hours a day with a gun. And he said, you should also do like that. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada is very much concerned about protecting the deities, and we should also be very concerned about protecting the deities. So we have to protect the deity, and also in this, especially in this stage of our advancement in Krishna consciousness, especially in the neophyte stage, we need the protection of Krishna. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, abandon or rise of religion and surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So by surrendering to Krishna, we will get all protection. And this is also explained in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verse 39. It is stated there that the lotus feet of Vishnu is like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them against all the miseries of the material world. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. So by surrendering to Krishna, we will be protected. If we take a shelter, we'll be protected. Just like Prabhupada mentions, how one gets this protection, this protection is mentioned in the first canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, that by anyone could accept the shelter of Krishna by surrendering unto him. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 9:32, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, Sudras, can approach this supreme destination. And Prabhupada mentions there in the purport that surrendering to Krishna means surrendering to the pure devotee, accepting him as a spiritual master. So this is how to accept Krishna, take shelter of him. And Prabhupada mentions also in a letter to Srivani in 1975 that taking shelter of the spiritual master means following his instructions. So this is how we take shelter, by accepting his instructions. So if we want to please a spiritual master, then we follow his instructions. As Prabhupada mentioned to Radhakanta in 1974, he says that affection for the spiritual master and following his instructions is the same thing. So my instruction to all my disciples is to attend Mangalarti and chant 16 rounds a day. So we have to follow these instructions, and that's a proof of your love. Like Prabhupada mentions in a room conversation in 1974, in June of 1974, that if you do not obey God, then where is your love? If you love me, you will not disobey me. And if you disobey me, that love is not real. So we have to follow those instructions, as Prabhupada mentions many times in his lectures and specifically in his letters, that my instruction to you is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra without committing offenses. Chant without offense. And of course we know that one of the offenses is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. So in this way we have to follow all the instructions of the spiritual master. That means chanting 16 rounds a day. And by doing that, we'll have sufficient strength to do other things. If we don't chant 16 rounds a day, as Prabhupada wrote to Jagadish in a letter, that we won't be able to rise up early in the morning. So this is very important. And we have to attend the classes in the temple, in the association devotees. And in many letters also, Prabhupada mentions how this is the duty of the leaders of the Krishna conscious movement. They have to see that everyone is attending the temple functions, rising early, coming to the classes, chanting their rounds. In this way, management will be at their fingertips. So this is very important. Like he mentioned that certain devotees, like he said, since you are recommending these devotees for initiation, it is your duty to see that they're coming to the temple programs like that. So it's very important in this way. So these things should be done with enthusiasm. We have to be enthusiastic. Not that, oh, the spiritual master has told me these things, therefore I have to do them. No, we should do it very enthusiastically. Enthusiastically means, for one, it means one has to be focused in attention. One can't simply, just be at some place and, oh, okay, my spiritual master has told me this, so I'm here, I'm standing here, but my mind is going to some other place. No, we have to focus on the instructions of the spiritual master with attention. So, this opportunity to become Krishna consciousness is in our hands. We can make the decision where we want to go. And people in the material world, they're so much enamored by this material sense gratification. They think that, oh, I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I have a nice family. But this is simply a temporary situation. We are eternal. So compared to eternity, this lifetime is simply like a flash of lightning or like a bubble in the ocean. It's just there for a moment and just disappears. And then after that, if we're not serious, who knows where will we go? We may have a nice situation. I'm a nice American. I have so much money. And then our next life, we become a dog or a cat. So this is insanity. So there's no happiness here in this material world. Happiness simply means we're just counteracting the suffering. And people take this as happiness. It's like if it's very cold and you put on some nice gloves and a coat, you're thinking, oh, I'm so happy now. But it's just simply whatever we do in this material, whatever sense gratification we engage in, that is simply to counteract suffering. It's not actually enjoyment. It's not actually enjoyment. So people are simply suffering. Either they're a first-class prisoner, second-class prisoner, or third-class prisoner. And the point of being this point of or one is intelligent if one thinks how to get out of this prison house, not simply think, oh, I want to become a first-class prisoner. No, the prison house is simply meant for suffering. So the suffering is caused by our own activities. Krishna does not create Maya, we create Maya. If we go away from the sunshine, if we go away from it, what could the sun do? So it's our responsibility to act properly, and this way we'll be properly situated. Okay, so I could stop there. Any questions on any of these points? Okay, thank you very much. All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.